Welcome to the Launch It Fierce podcast with Grace Sinding, the launch strategist. This is a podcast where we teach you online marketing and how to make your launches successful, fun, and fierce. Hi, this is Grace Sinding, and thank you for joining me today. I am with Elena Brower. She's a goddess. She's my spiritual teacher, my yoga teacher, my mentor, and dear friend. And thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Grace. Thanks for having me.
So what is spirituality?
There are so many different ways to define it, but I think whatever helps you to feel connected to your highest self. Neurologically, it's when you have a flash of insight. There's a certain kind of brainwave. It's a gamma wave, I believe it's called, where this is the only kind of wave that actually lights up in all the parts of your brain, not just one part. And when you have a flash of insight, your entire brain lights up. You know, when you really get something and it's just like, oh my God, and you get it with your whole body and you know it, quote unquote, by heart. Yeah. Spirituality is anything that helps you to feel like you're entirely involved with your heart, with your mind, and with your body. That's the way I'm defining it for today.
Wow.
I feel that. That's just off the cuff.
So when you do mindfulness and meditations, you kind of get connected to that. Why is it so important for us humans to get connected to our spirit?
I think maybe the best answer for that would be that when we sit for meditation, hopefully twice a day, that's when I get the best results, but sometimes it's only in the morning. When it's twice a day, today was twice a day, I get the best ideas. Now, meditation is a time when you're really technically meant to just observe what is happening, whether you use a mantra, whether you follow your breathing, whatever's happening. You're actually just inviting yourself into a place of such ease, nonchalance.
What does that mean?
Nonchalance is just how very easeful can you be?
Okay.
How mellow, how chilled out can you be? And you're just sitting and you're watching it. At the very beginning of starting a meditation practice, you're hearing every thought ping-ponging in your mind. There are so many of them.
So it's normal. I'm like,
many.
I can't do this meditation thing. You know, my mind goes off and...
That's just, it's sort of like when there's a housekeeper. My teacher talks about this. When his name is Tom Knowles. When you have a housekeeper come, if you're that fortunate, or you've ever been in a public place where there's a cleaner, they're kind of making a bunch of noise to get the house clean. Yeah. That's what's happening in your mind. You sit for meditation, there's going to be a lot of noise coming up, a lot of things have to leave, all these years and years of maladaptive reactivity, which are thoughts, come rising to the surface. And rather than thinking, oh, I don't want these thoughts, or oh, I have to stop them, or oh, I have to change them, it's just the dust coming to the surface so you can gently invite it out. Wow. And there's nothing to do about it.
I love that.
Nothing to do about it. The most important part, though, is to really stick with it past the point of having a zillion thoughts a minute, because that will happen, and it will happen for many months, days, weeks, however, whatever your experience is meant to be. But on the other end of that, you're really inviting yourself into such a quiet place inside of yourself that gets quiet over time. Okay. All those thoughts coming out, they have to come out because there has to be a release somehow. And that they will release, and someday they come and they stop coming. When they're all sort of cleaned out and you know everyone back to front, they stop coming. And then when you sit for meditation, you get good ideas. Amazing. Like your mind is so quiet that you can, oh yes, if that happens, then this might happen. Or, oh, I'm feeling that this might be the perfect meal, or this might be the perfect phone call to make. There are all kinds of creative ideas. I get ideas for paintings when I'm meditating. Wow. Yeah, this one has a whole meditation lecture underneath it.
Now I see it.
It's all about forgiveness.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, talking about forgiveness, because when the way I know you, you're always full of love and you're always giving and being out there.
Almost always.
I feel so,
Almost always.
yeah. So when you are out there, you will sometimes meet people that do not like you, like leaders, entrepreneurs. When we want to make a difference, there's going to be people not liking our ideas. And you have this way of meeting everyone with this grace and then non-judgmental openness. How do you do that? I have all these bad feelings, I get judgmental and angry and...
Do you ever feel like people are judging you?
Yeah, I do.
So this happens a lot, and I only arrived at this through teaching teachers how to teach yoga, who every single time I do this, and I only do it a couple times a year, somebody invariably says, I'm so afraid that people are judging me, and so I'm really scared to teach.
Yeah.
And I always ask them the same question that I've just asked you, are you judging people at any period of time? You end up finding that you're spending, if you haven't put any attention on it, you're spending a good portion of the day judging other people, whether it's about their boots or their dress or their hair. You're loving it, you're hating it, you're having opinions.
Exactly.
All of these opinions are taking the place of you being in a quiet place and having a creative surge, right? So, catching a big idea. So the idea is if you want to stop judging people, the only way is sort of similar to meditation, to start writing them down, start noting all of them. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to say, okay, I want to notice all of my judgments today. And within 5 minutes of getting out of bed, you're looking at something online or you're reading an email or something, and immediately you're in a judgment. Catch it.
Okay.
Note it in your phone, write it down.
Yeah.
You'll note dozens of them over the course of the first day. Second day, a few less. Third day, a few less. 6 weeks of doing that, really, just like you're going to school, you're going to judgment school.
Yeah.
6 weeks.
Judgment school.
It's so funny.
I love it.
But 6 weeks later, this is what I've been taught from the coaches that teach me at the Handel group. 6 weeks later, you are kind of free. And you can kind of notice the precursor of a judgment as it starts to rise up in your mind and go,
Oops. Yeah.
don't need that.
Exactly. Yeah.
And quiet.
I love that. I'm going to judgment school.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, it is.
And that's what I say to anybody who feels like they're being judged. I say you go and see what judgments you have.
Definitely.
See every brand, every kind, every way of saying it, even when it sounds nice.
Yeah, I read one of your blogs. There was something about with judging, and it was like, oh, it makes me so sad. Feeling
Feeling
people,
bad.
Yeah, it makes me feel so bad when who's get new tits or facelift,
yes.
and we are being, at least I am being judgmental to that. Why did she have to do that? And
that's Elizabeth Gilbert wrote a most incredible piece, but I think it's valid, and I think we need to just let everybody do what they're doing.
Exactly.
And even if there's some opinion somewhere inside of us, that opinion needs to be verified.
Yeah.
It needs to be verified. We don't know where that actually came from. Did that come from something my auntie said when I was 10? Did that come from something my boyfriend said when I was 17, 30 years ago? Did that come? Who knows? And slowly you begin to see that I actually am a very elegant, graceful, judgment-free human at the core of my core.
I love that. I'm definitely going to judgment school.
Yeah.
So I believe that you become what you think and what you do. So what kind of spiritual acts or ritual habits have you implemented to stay this amazing? And what can you let us in on your habits and rituals, how we can?
Yep. I think the first thing would be to make apologizing a very regular and normal thing in your household.
Like?
Just saying you're sorry.
To your people?
To anybody.
To flowers?
Or no.
No, to people?
If you frequently feel like you're getting into conflicts or confrontations, which I was for a very long time, one of my rituals is I am very ready to apologize.
Wow.
That is a great ritual. That is a great habit, let's say,
Love that.
to have. Especially if you're a
How?
parent.
Parent, yeah.
For parenting, it's the most potent. It's the most potent practice I have as a parent is to apologize and be ready to apologize because I mess up all the time, every day.
You as well.
Yes, me as well. And I lose my patience, I lose my marbles, I lose my mind, and I apologize every time. And he's gotten to the point where I've seen him when he thinks I'm not looking, and some, row will develop between him and his friends, or something will happen. And he's the one who will not only apologize, he'll implore the other kid who's doing something wrong to apologize. He knows he has a great sense of dignity and humility. He's very ready to do it himself. The second thing that I do a lot are do-overs for the parents, particularly, but in couples it works very well. When you say something that you regret, do something that you regret, you talk about it beforehand and you say, this is something that I want to start to implement in our family or in our household. We'd like the opportunity to do things a second time, a better way, in a different way.
Yeah.
And so we do that with some frequency, a few times a week, where
Amazing.
I mess up so badly that I'll say, I totally need a do-over. I'm sorry. Can we just let's just back up, go back to where we were in the house, what we were doing. Okay, you say that again? I'm going to do this a different way.
How amazing.
It's amazing.
How amazing.
For a child to see that.
Yeah, for me to do that too. That would just change the game in the household.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with my son is 8.5 now, but with teenagers, incredible. I know you have a 14-year-old and a 19-year-old. It's incredible. We say the dumbest things sometimes that we don't mean.
I know.
And they're all that reactivity is what leaves when we meditate. So the more we meditate, the less likely we are to say those silly things. But the more we apologize, the better off we are. And the more we give ourselves the opportunity to just redo that whole moment, please.
How amazing. I'm definitely going to take that on, both of them. We're going to have a family meeting tonight.
It's a great one.
Yeah.
It's a great one.
Yeah, I love that. And you call that a spiritual ritual?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah. When I'm a trained coach with the Handel Group, and I think that of all the things that I do and all the studies that I've had, this is probably the most potent thing, is the work that I do with them, which helps me to, another ritual also for parents, is ask your kid what you could be doing better on a regular basis, maybe even daily, nightly. Hi. And I have one coach who formulates, yes, I have one coach who formulates a sentence like this: what sucked about me today? Which is so much fun.
Love that.
And I don't know if this is the right thing or not, but I actually always say, hey, what could I do better?
Yeah.
Because that's a little more constructive. But what sucked about me is very good for teenagers.
Teenagers, yeah. My daughter would totally adore that.
There are things that suck about you today.
Oh.
And when you give her the freedom to tell you, it's like, oh, well, this, and then this, and then this, and then this, and then this. And you get the chance to be like, fair enough.
Yeah.
You're right. Which gives her voice, gives her freedom, gives her the trust in herself that her reads on you are not wrong. She can trust what she's intuitively feeling and be validated.
Yeah, and the
very good.
relationship. I mean, if she
You'll
could
get very close.
Exactly. We do lay in bed every night together,
Yes. And
that
you have
would
the best chats.
That would be that would you take our chats to another level.
That's the time.
I'm super excited about that.
That's the time.
So many women, including myself, are pretty hard on themselves. Self-critics. Do you have an inner critic or not?
Once you start doing those practices, which are critical to my life, the critic, bye.
Really?
It doesn't happen anymore, because anything that I would be criticizing myself about, I've already apologized. I've already done it over. I've already asked how I could do it better. I'm already, in the service of changing the habit.
How genius. So then you kind of become your best.
I don't spend any time on that anymore.
You don't? Wow. So Yeah, how to still, stay open and fresh when we are entrepreneurs, mom, women, and we are doing all the time.
Yep.
And just staying, open and loving. To me, I find it hard because I'm more into the doing and being.
It's hard to imagine. And I remember seeing somebody say this, and when I still had this very full day scheduled for myself, but slowly it's taken me about 10 years from seeing it the first time and hearing about this, what I'm about to say for the first time. But now I schedule my time so that I have, like, prior to seeing you, I had a meeting at 1 o'clock, and then I had a steam.
Like a steam, like go to
Go
a steam
to the
room?
steam room and spend 30 minutes in the steam room and take a shower, take care of myself. I'm fresh, I'm ready, I'm so excited to see my child. If I hadn't done that, let's say I'd gone to the grocery store or something instead of that, which can happen later or tomorrow.
Exactly.
And I can just use what's in the fridge, and I can be perfectly awesome and very resourceful with what's there, even though I would love to go to the grocery store and have a few fresh things. This way, when my son comes back, I actually feel incredible. I'm ready, I'm excited, I'm gonna go play soccer with him in my dress, and we're gonna go have a date.
Wow.
Instead of me, I did it all, I went and did everything, I'm so happy, and then I have no gas left
Exactly.
for anybody or anything.
Exactly.
So that's how I do it. I schedule a lot of time for myself. I don't hesitate to spend money on myself. I get a facial once a month. Even when I didn't have the money, I spent that money.
Wow.
And
you always smell so good and radiant, love.
Essential oils.
Oh, and I love, when we were in the elevator, you were telling me, that lady with the suitcases, you were telling her to say, take your time, because she was like, oh, I'm holding these people up, I want to hurry.
She was worried.
She was worried, she was, doing stuff, and you was like, I'm going to help you, take your time. You have this ease about you.
It really is only that I'm very willing to own my mistakes. That's the only thing I can point to. It gives me so much freedom in my mind.
Wow, I love that. So I have all this, when stuff happens to me, like in traffic, and I get too late, or I get stressed, or somebody's doing lash out at me, at the store, that, it's not my problems. I tend to come at that with the same anger or negative emotions. I never seen you do that.
Oh, I do it often.
You do?
Yeah, it's not, I wouldn't do it at work because I'm at work, and that's where I'm, at my finest, but here at the house, of course. We're all human.
And then apologizing,
absolutely,
and redoing.
apologize and do it over. Now, when it comes to things like that, there were a couple things that tipped me off. One is, I would love to see you do your 18 areas. This is an exercise that we do with the Handel group, where you have 18 areas of your life, and you go ahead and design each one of these areas. You have an issue with time. You don't have a design for how you are in relationship to time. So you need to make time your friend. Make yourself a master of time, so that no matter what, 10 minutes late is the latest I'm going to be, and that is so rare for me. Used to be that 10 minutes was good.
Yeah.
Usually it was like 30 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was always rushing, and I was always worried, and I was always sorry, and I was always explaining myself. I made myself a master of time. And it means that when you're planning out your day and somebody asks you, oh, can you do this? You look and you say, okay, realistically, even though that thing is only going to be 20 minutes, I'm going to allot an hour.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to allot an extra half an hour to get there and get back. Even another hour, whatever it is. So that you're always having a very spacious flow. And if somebody else comes in the day before and says, hey, can I get in and get to see you for just a little minute? It's like, actually, no. Day's full.
Yeah.
Cooked and booked. And
how do you tell people no in a nice way? How do you do it?
You just say, I mean, it's different for every case, but I just say, I'm constantly on a promise to not add anything. I'm on a promise not to add anything to today. I'm on a promise not to add anything until the end of the summer. No more editorial stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I just don't. And so I say that I'm actually on a promise that I'm not meant to add anything else of this nature until January of next year. Would you mind hitting me back then?
Yeah.
And it works. And I was like, oh, that's very respectable. Thank you for letting me know. We'll get back to you in January.
I love that. I love that. Yeah. Buffett says something about how he got so super rich. And he said that because I said 99.9% no. And then I was like, okay, if that's the way to get rich in that way, I mean, it can make you rich in other ways as well.
I like this.
Yeah.
I like this. I haven't heard that yet. And that is absolutely true. Because the more you say no, the more, you know, people are desiring what you have to offer. And especially if what you have to offer is very valuable.
Exactly.
Wow.
And he said that, you know, he was taking on everyone else's dreams on, but he had to make space for his own. So that's what I love about that. So you volunteer. We just went down, and I mean, I love the way you do it. You went down to the shelter and donated your stuff that you didn't need.
I had 9 bags of clothes.
9 bags.
Thank you for helping.
And you, another thing you did, there was some New York. What was it when after yoga, you invited us to help out at the New York shelter?
God's Love We Deliver.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're always volunteering, and people tell me, I love to volunteer, but I never have the time, and I do not know where to start. What would you recommend? Where would we go to make a difference for someone else?
Well, I teach often for causes. So if I find a cause that I love, I'll teach a class for that cause, and then I'll just give the proceeds of the class. I'm asked a few times a year to teach classes, you know, for free, so that they can raise money for certain causes. There's a yoga gives back. There's, oh my God, there are so many of them, and I do really fun things for them. I have a whole page called Seva on teach.yoga for the teachers, where we talk about all the different yoga seva that you can. Seva means service.
Yeah.
I started going to one of the big children's hospitals here in New York, and to be perfectly honest, I kind of snuck in and was doing Reiki for the moms based on the fact that one doctor and one nurse were coming to my classes.
Wow.
So I went in, and we were kind of sneaking around, and I was giving Reiki to the moms of the kids who were critically ill. I was helping the moms learn how to touch and be with their children when they're critically ill, so that they can believe, these moms have to believe that they themselves gave birth to this human. They can definitely help heal this person. We did great work for several months.
I love that idea. I never thought about that.
It's so good. But now I've been sort of outed, so I have to go through the proper channels, and I have to fill out a whole volunteer form, and I'm happy to do it, and I'm going to.
Okay.
So I haven't been there in about 2 weeks now, which is killing me, and so I get texts, updates from the nurses on a few of the kids that I'm very close with. That's one thing that we can do, where you go to any local hospital or any local senior care center. To care for the elders is a very huge privilege.
Yes.
Go take care of the elders.
Yeah. I do
Take care of the kids and the elders.
Yeah.
To do that, you just have to go fill out a form. Maybe you might have to get checked for certain diseases or get a vaccine or something. But I'm really excited about doing that, because that you know, I just allot an entire afternoon every week to that. And people ask me to do stuff at that time, and I say, no, sorry, I'm busy. That's just my busy time.
Wow.
And
how do you know where to go? What because you're so passionate about it. Because when you talk about it, people wants to follow you, no doubt. When you talked about it, I was like, I want to go there too. So how do you get that motivation and drive?
I credit my parents.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. They were very, everybody's got their own crazy family, but I have to say, my parents were always caring about other people. They were always, my mom's always giving stuff away at the end of the year. There's always an eye toward the people in need close by.
Yes.
Always like this. They supported me. Back when we were in the 80s and they started Save the Children. I don't know if you remember this, but it was a worldwide thing, but it was started in the States, where you would pay like $8 a month.
Okay.
and you would support a child.
Wow.
Now I do it through Women for Women. I have a sister in Uganda right now, and that's $30 a month. It's nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. That puts her through school.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things we can do. I'm glad to give you a bunch of links.
We support we have 2 schools, and one in Dominican Republic and one in Africa.
Amazing.
So we're going to Africa to see what we build, and that is just, that's amazing.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and what I find funny is that I was meeting so much resistance for our kids, and I was like, what did I do wrong? Because if we gave the money that we were supposed to buy a car, and then we decided to build a classroom for a school instead. And I mean, we have enough. So then, but our kids, we hadn't taught them, how it works, because for us it was like so natural, but then it was like we forgot to show them that we are doing this. We just do it, but we forget to show them actually what we are doing, and it's through them doing and showing, not telling, we realized big mistake. Yeah.
I had a good conversation today with one of the heads of a really incredible school here in New York, and in the 6th grade there, they have the kids go out in the field and interview people, all walks of life, about what it's like to live with minimum wage, what it's like to be on food stamps, what it means to receive donations and help from the outside. And it does depend on, I only know to give because I watch my mom every single year put everything together and take it over to the place where she gave it away, and the kids would take it.
You need to show them.
It's just that. It's lead by example. And if any of this conversation moves you at all you need to do is do some research, look online, look in your town, look in the phone book, and find where the hospital, the shelter, or the senior care facility is. Just start there. I want to do something locally too, because when I see your eyes, because it's beautiful.
It's beautiful, and it does something about us.
And recently, even then, I believe that we all need to stay local. And I even did a huge fundraiser for Nepal, just a link on CrowdRise, right after the earthquake, and we raised almost $13,000.
That's amazing.
Very quickly.
Wow.
Because no one knew where to donate.
Exactly.
And we raised money for an orphanage that's being run by a teacher friend of mine.
Wow.
And sure enough, though, that alone, while awesome, I raised $13,000 this year for it's not enough. I think that for each of us to be locally helping the people that are really in need locally,
see the difference.
That's I think very, very important for all of us, no matter where we live.
I do agree.
Yeah.
So spirituality, I want to take us back there, because to me it's about tapping into our inner voice, our our GPS.
Yes.
And when it's too hectic around us, how do you, in difficult situation, for example, do I leave my job, or do I leave my husband, or do I leave a partnership at business, or do I go into this contract or not? When it's busy, we don't hear that voice. So how do you tap into your GPS in difficult situations? Because you've been through a lot. And how do you know? We are so afraid to make those mistakes, and most people stay in that situation because they're so afraid to make mistakes. How do you know when to tap into your GPS and what to listen for?
Well, I think it does go back to what I was saying before about what I've learned with the Handel group, where you have to have a vision for every area of your life. And if you go through your 18 areas and you write up a vision for your romance, for example, or your marriage, or your kids. Anytime that any of it is called into question, you go back to that vision and you know exactly what you're looking for. And if this current reality doesn't match that vision, you first figure out what your part is in it. Not what everybody else's part is. That doesn't matter. The freedom is in finding out, where am I contributing to this drama, malaise, whatever it is. And then and only then can you say, okay, you know what? This is not matching my dream. This is my part. I apologize. And this is where I'd like to take it now.
Yeah.
You'll know exactly what to do. Once you own your, in America we say once you own your side of the street.
Yeah.
You know, once you clean up your yard, then you can go worry about everybody else's yard.
Yeah.
And then you know, by then you know, once you've cleaned up your yard, you know, it's like cleaning out your closet. It's why I was so adamant about getting that stuff over there today. My house is clean.
Yeah.
I know exactly where everything is. I know how many black things I have. I know how many white things I have. There's nothing I don't know about in any neck or corner of this place. There's such a freedom, and I've had so many good creative ideas today.
Yeah.
Both for my life and for my art and for my work. Thirdly,
Because you clean up.
because everything is out of there.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I think have a vision. Whether it's your work or your partnership or your whatever it is, your kids, have a vision for it. If it's not meeting your vision, get very quiet. If it means you have to go for a run and then sit down, whatever your brand of quiet has to be, get very quiet. Your intuition is there, just waiting for you to let go of everything else and tell you, you are the teacher. You are the strong person. You are the wise person. You know exactly what you need to know in order to solve this.
Wow.
I promise that you do. And the minute you own your part, it's there for you.
Then it's easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so much easier.
Exactly.
So where do we find these 18 areas?
The website is the Handel Group.
The Handel Group.
Handel
Yeah.
group.com. They've just done so much for me, and I teach for them a few times a year online. I do. It's funny, I hadn't thought I was going to talk about this, but it's actually such a part of my spirituality. I do online teletalks and teleseries for them, so you can just call in on your Skype and.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
And you do teaching you teach yoga teachers to be teachers as well.
I don't do full-on trainings. I do what I call teacher enhancement modules, and I usually do 2 or 3 a year. And I like to do it this way in usually 2 or 3 day chunks of time, because we get to get very close very quickly, and we get to address exactly what needs to be addressed, and a few things that I feel very strongly about.
Yeah.
It's really for teachers who are already teaching. I don't feel the need to train new teachers. I think we have too many teachers already, and I see this all in every town I go to, in every city all over the world. There are too many trained teachers and not enough positions.
Wow.
So I don't want to train new teachers. I want to get the ones who are teaching
To go.
super clear on what their vision is and what their voice sounds like, and get them really happy to do their job.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
On that, thank you so much, Elena.
You're welcome.
I love for you guys to join Elena's meditation course. I'm doing it now. I am so glad. I am so excited. And can I ask you why twice a day? Everybody's telling us to do meditation twice a day. Why twice a day?
Well, we
It's
have
just
a lot
technical stuff, but
No,
it's like
the way I understand it, we have a lot of reactivity in our bodies, and it's built up over a long time. And let's say I'm 44, you're my age. We have that many years of assumptions and grief and pain and sadness and sorrow and anger and fear. I could go on.
yeah. There's a lot.
Why don't we sit twice a day? Because in the first thing in the morning, everything is so clear, and it's the first light, and it's just such a good time to sit.
I love that.
And then the second time is, around the afternoon time.
Like noonish or 2ish?
No, I would do it like somewhere between like 2 and dinner time.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a time when we get very low energy, especially if we're not minding our food.
Yeah.
And it's a time when a lot of the negativity can tend to build up. And when I find this, that when I sit in the afternoons, it's even more profound than in the morning, because it's harder. But by the end of it, I've gotten so many good ideas.
Wow.
And I'm also wide awake, where I used to, in my
Crash.
20s and 30s, I used to go get chocolate.
Yes, that's when if I go for the chocolate, it's a 2ish.
I don't need it anymore.
Wow. Even a better reason to start meditation is that you don't need your chocolate anymore.
And the course you're doing has it has a really long one for the morning, usually.
What's a really long one?
20.
20? Oh.
Not even, actually. Not even. And then shorter ones for the afternoon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you can choose to mix and match, and
I am super
each
excited.
one has a really cool
And it's easy.
slant.
It's easy. It's Elena Brower / meditation course.
ElenaBrower.com/meditation.
Meditation. Super.
I like one words.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you guys for being with us, and thank you, Elena, for being
so much.
here.
Thank you,
Thank
Mama.
you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for listening. If you're new to the podcast and haven't got the project plan to a successful launch, make sure to get it at grysinding.com/plan. That is grysinding.com/plan. And remember, no matter where you are not alone. There's a team of people rooting for you to be free and to be fierce. So go get them. Go create your most successful launch ever.